Life.
Homecoming is finally over. Yeah, I know we discussed the negative things that happened at homecoming, but let's talk about the positive things that happened during homecoming.
Yes.
Ass. There was plenty of ass. Everywhere.
Yeah.
But they said there was a little bit too much ass. There was a woman who posted on TikTok, and she was a little bit disturbed about the amount of ass she saw at homecoming. I'm gonna play.
It's sad when HBCU alumni go to their homecoming and didn't have to jump on this app and reprimand the students because it was so much ass out for homecoming. Like this what y'all learning at the tune of $25,000 a year? Y'all didn't have to go to college to be looking like that. And I'm going to touch y'all hand when I say this. You're pretty from the front. There is a dehumanization that we do to ourselves as black women when we put all our stock, all our glory is in our ass when no one can see our face. You're not a horse. You're not a dog. You're not some animal. You're a woman. You're a woman. Dr. Du Bois coined the term the talented 10th. And it may have been classes or elitists, but those who go to, this is college. It's a university. That's the number one place to level up. And like beyond, there's elders there. Beyond, there's children there. Beyond, there's connections made. Represent your college well. And I want to represent the best of my university, not the worst.
I already know what this means.
Yeah.
We know. She has no ass at all.
Oh, yeah. You think this is...
I think she do got some ass. She look like she got a whole lot of ass.
Because I was reading comments on the video, and there was a mixed bunch. There were people who were agreeing with her.
So we're at the mall, and we seen a young lady walk in with one of them homecoming bubble skirts that y'all was talking about with the booty cheeks out, and that was quite jarring to see. We literally jumped. Oh! So, maybe the aunties had a point.
And there were people who were saying, like, oh, you just hating on the young girls.
That's
you
all
an
that
old
is,
lady
yo.
hating. So you think that's what it is?
I am seeing a whole bunch of HBCU alumni on TikTok policing the bodies of other women based on what we were taught. And that appropriateness is often deeply rooted in white supremacy and patriarchy.
And I'm going to tread lightly when I say this, but yeah, because normally what you're going to hear is, what does the way I dress have to do with how I do blah, 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 blah. And that's my take on it, because I'm like, most of these in college, they're in school. Most of you even go to school. Y'all just critiquing the people who are actually there. Now you mad that they wearing what they want to wear. Like, this is what they all dress like anyway.
The girls was naked at homecoming? You don't say. I'm more shocked at y'all for being shocked at the fact that the girls didn't have on no clothes at homecoming.
In her defense, she said my university, so she went. I'm assuming she went.
Yeah, it is assumed she is an alumni.
Yeah,
I'm assuming she is alumni.
But the generation has changed.
Well, no, did they really? Because I can remember.
A lot. I mean, you
not
might
really
see
because
little shorts back in the day, but
back in the day they were doing the same
people coming
thing.
outside in their thongs with their school colors.
The only and that's what I'm saying. But it's a generational difference. So it was like, think about it. They was doing the butt.
Yeah.
Then they was shake what your mama gave.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, go take any Luke song.
But I'm just saying, like the transition.
But Luke opened the doors to that though.
No, hoes were always hoes.
They were always.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
more free.
No, he made it.
Expression wise.
Well, yes, he made it more acceptable. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it still ain't like it is now.
I don't see the difference
Like,
personally.
it's a
Besides age.
It's a difference.
No, dude. I was out last night. They got.
It's a difference.
The funniest thing I've ever seen, because I went to go see oh boy, and these ain't even dancers, but the chicks out with what is it? Nipple tape and short shirts.
Oh.
I mean, but that's still. I mean,
they didn't do that back then.
Come on, bro.
What you mean they do that back then?
Okay, at the end of the day, like, let's say back Freaknik time, HBCU.
I'm about to say thank you. I'm about to say Freaknik, all that. Like, what you talking about?
Like, you didn't really see a lot of
because
that.
the reason why you didn't see it, because the difference is between then and now is the internet. You could post it on the internet and everybody can see. The only way you gonna see back then, your ass had to be there, or somebody took some pictures.
then. Like them same girls that dress a certain way then, they'll be trying to dress the same way outside of their.
Well, shouldn't they do the opposite manner? Shouldn't they cover up more if more people are going to be looking?
I mean, me personally, what I'm standing on is back then versus now. It's the same. The only difference is the internet. See, back then you had to physically be there, or someone that was there took pictures for you could actually see what went on. Now, like you said, you saw 2 homecomings and you wasn't physically there. So that means, for somebody who's an alumni and they're going viral because their college is because of ass, you know what I'm saying? Could she be hypocritical? Yes, but I just think what I'm taking from her is there's a time and place for everything. So what I'm thinking I'm just saying this disclosure, I wasn't there. What I take from what she's saying is they doing it any and everywhere. They're dressing any and everywhere.
It shouldn't be a surprise. You're gonna take even more off at home.
But but like she's
even more naked. It's like going to the beach bike week.
Get it, but when you have alumni, older generation, you got kids that's possibly coming here. You know what I'm saying? What I'm taking, what she's saying is, when y'all have parties and stuff like that, do your thing. Don't do it at functions according with the school's function, like at the damn at the game or something like that. Hell, even tailgate. You feel what I'm saying?
So what she's trying to say is, don't dress like that at school-related functions and events.
Exactly, because you got connection. Like
she probably want to be a little more professional.
Yeah, because like she said, she described it. She said you had
everybody ain't.
Yeah, but like she described it, she said you got older generations there, you got younger kids there, then you got business connections there that you can possibly meet. So what she's saying is, don't do it a school function, because you're sabotaging a whole future. Right, a whole bunch of when y'all doing y'all thing, y'all parties, do your thing. It's a time and place for everything. That's the difference.
Yeah, ain't homecoming a big party?
Yeah, but that's only,
and depending on what part they were at.
Exactly. So in other words, if you have, I'm gonna say where all three where she's talking about would be at a football game.
Yeah,
a football game, and you damn near half dressed at a football game. In October, you got your ass and nipples out. Some of them probably got their bodies. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, you are making those alumni.
They're just cheerleaders.
Cheerleaders that even got that. Cheerleaders that even got their ass out like that.
Yeah. Well, I think the 304s are the ones that dress like this. It's not the good girls and the women that make wives. So now I
totally
think
understand where she's coming from.
I think what it is. No, I understand where she's coming from, and I understand what the opposition's coming from. But the thing is, hoes are gonna dress like hoes now, just because it's more socially acceptable for hoes to dress like hoes.
But a lot of
women don't dress like that.
And a lot of them isn't hoes. That's the point.
It don't matter. They're presenting themselves as hoes.
Right, exactly. So in other words, don't take a situation and make yourself looking bad worse than others. Because outside of that,
some people just don't care.
But that's the thing. Hoes don't know that.
Okay. Like some people don't care. I'm dressed like this.
Yeah.
Still don't.
They don't care about
my
the future.
Education. Still don't say nothing about this and the third. This is what I got on during my.
They don't think.
And you do but you do have some that's like borderline, like they're in the middle. They don't know which way to go, so they very
let them figure it out.
Right. So in other words, So in other words, that's why she put out there like, hey, you don't want to sit out here and dress a certain way just for this specific time, and then you sabotaging A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, I get that, but this is stuff that was common sense taught to us in high school, or at least when we were 18 or 19.
You really think most of their parents?
Why would you have to be taught how to have common sense, not common sense, but just like how to be representing the family outside the home?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And a lot of them probably, we assume if they made it to college, right?
Yeah.
They had some type of teaching, but once they get their ass there,
it's a celebration.
They're away from parents, so they doing their thing.
People, I understand. You have your very conservative people that will do go out there and dress conservatively, because that's just what they do. Sure. But then you have the group of people too that this is a party. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They're dressing for the occasion.
A football game and a party.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, the tailgate is the party. Yeah,
exactly. The
football is a
game.
networking event if you're doing it right.
Right, but when you
go in, you got the party.
Right, but when you going in a football game, you have all those elements that she just laid
elders,
out.
Man, the tailgate's the party. The tailgate don't stop. You got the pre, during,
that.
post.
I got that.
Tailgate ain't supposed to go to.
No, what she said is, yo, do that in other spots. Don't come to the football game like that. You feel what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying. You're right. They can do what you want to, but is looking a certain way worth risking your
Some people don't care.
Exactly.
Okay, but I believe. Well, I believe you got your ass to college. You care enough. You expect to graduate unless your ass don't get pregnant, don't get killed, or drop out.
I'm about to say, what's your?
You see what I'm saying? Like, right. What I got on tonight is not gonna stop me from graduating.
So what she said. So what she's saying is, if you have that mindset to think like that, right? These are the other things that you are upsetting. So what's more important, that one night or when you expected to graduate and that one man that woman possibly be your first career job, will she remember your ass at the tailgate
How she remember one person from the tailgate because the ass was out?
Hey, listen, if you're talking about a school like NCCU, it's not you remember people.
You remember ass.
I
remember ass from Howard's Homecoming when I was a teenager.
And you know, some hawkish women remember. They remember certain things.
That's a perv, yo. Because you remember them from their ass. If you remember that person,
they remember how they dress. Like, do you not? That's not what it is. In other words, again,
if they're coming to the interview professionally dressed.
Right.
If it's an interview.
She's dressed for the occasion.
Now it's an occasion.
So in other words, what she's trying,
you can't see that ass now.
So what she's trying to tell you, that's probably one of them bosses is yours that's in that crowd.
Yeah. Well, one of them bosses might be like, hot damn, I remember her.
My thing,
and you're right, and if his wife say you better not hire her ass, that's your job. That's what I'm saying. Or if her husband say something again. It's a topsy-turvy. You right. You can go out there and do your thing. But if you got the mindset that you plan on graduating, right, don't allow that one particular day to
But it's not a one-time thing.
It's not a one-time thing. It's 4 years. So it's there until you did. So it's 3 to 4 years before you graduate. How many years? So this is how they going to remember them. They coming every year. So each year they come and they see you dressed as scandalous.
You see what I'm saying?
How does that dictate?
It does dictate.
The way I dress,
because in other words, there's a time and place for everything. A football game is not meant to have your ass dressed out, because what's going to happen is you are upsetting the crowd. This is who you're upsetting. You upsetting the older women that's there. You upsetting the wives that's there. You upsetting the men because you know why? They looking. They already looking because you have. But you're not understanding is, and then on top of that,
they wear ass to be seen.
Exactly, they wear ass to be seen, and then on top of that, you have kids there. You got little young girls and little boys there, and they seeing that. So you upsetting those elements, and you plan on doing this for the next 3 to 4 years. You don't think they're gonna remember your ass? You damn right they're gonna remember you.
Yeah.
That's still not gonna stop them from graduating.
Right.
That's not. I didn't say it wouldn't stop you from graduating. What I said was one of them bodies that's up in there could be a potential first job. One of them got businesses or they got connections to where you can get somewhere. That's why she said there's business connections there.
Yeah, I get that, but here's the thing. You got to let dumb hoes be dumb hoes. If a woman at 21, 22 needs to be told she can't show her ass or needs to cover, she doesn't have enough sense to do it on her.
To wear clothes she wear.
Because she's a dumb hoe to do it in front of children.
She doesn't know there's a time and place for everything.
But yeah, she's a dumb hoe because she has her ass out in the general public, doesn't understand the perception she's giving off, or just doesn't care. That's what makes her dumb. But these women are needed because you need to figure out who the hoes are on campus. So if you want a wife, you can go at the woman with the asses out. If you don't, you know what she's about. So you got to let hoes do hoes so you can figure out who the hoes are. You ever seen women in the 1950s The hoes dress the same as the
Never.
housewife with the dresses all the way down to their knees and the white gloves. You couldn't tell who the hoes were because everybody had the same uniform.
Now she gave grace too because she did say
Cover
like
everything.
she has given grace too because she did say within her comment like you don't want to let all you know what I'm saying, because again another layer to that, there's a potential husband that might like you, but if you sit here and got your ass out every goddamn year, you
Why
might
we
cut
keep
that out.
saving hoes?
Yo,
Let the hoe be a hoe. You see what she is. I see what she is.
You got job employers, future
I don't
husbands.
want her to cover up because then
God
she's
damn.
going to be a smart hoe.
all because of my outfit that I wore at
She'll
home.
still be a
ass
hoe,
cheeks
but
flat.
she'll be
Cause
covered
your
up in
ass
full
cheeks
out.
out.
Show a little butt
Not even
cheeks,
clapping.
gracious,
Not
right?
even out here clapping. They just out.
She want her. She
I show
want.
a little butt
Listen,
Y'all got it bad.
She don't want her. She don't want her
Back
university being hashtag ass. That's what she said. I want my beautiful black women to be known more
And
than your
respect
ass
it.
and respect,
respect themselves. And
which
I get that.
which that's gonna turn into with another.
You can't keep saving hoes from
Hey
themselves.
man, hey listen, I'm just giving her viewpoint of what
I get
she
what
said.
you're saying, but
That's all.
you can't say these hoes
Hey,
from themselves.
every choice every move you make has its consequences. So if you can live with them at the end
Just
of the
like
day,
somebody
rock
don't like
with
it,
them.
somebody like it.
Yeah.
So
You're
either way
right.
it go, it could be a win.
And
either
again,
way.
you're right, but this is a different time. This is a different place because again,
Exactly, because a lot of people don't care.
you do care. If you just came out of your mouth and said, "I expect to graduate," right?
Right?
When you cross it, when you cross that line, get that damn graduate. But see, you're not. But you're not. You're not
graduated.
I didn't. If you're not listening, I said beyond. When you going for your first career,
What if you know they want to be a dancer? They got the ass cheeks
they
out
don't want to be a dancer.
And their first employer
They
might
that
be
school.
goddamn
You know how
So
many
they
girls
so they
like
so they go so they going to college.
Shit.
So they going to college.
Amnesia.
So they going to college to strip.
You don't know what
That's
they're
the
going
degree
for.
in stripping.
You don't know what they're going
They
for.
going to college to get a
You don't
degree
know
in
what
stripping.
They could be going for dance.
So what she said is be a smart hoe.
Theater.
Be a smart hoe.
Be a smart hoe and
Be
cover
a smart
up.
hoe
Dumb
and
hoes
cover
are
up.
the ones out in the
Cover
open
up.
that got the ass.
Feel what I'm
out.
saying? You got your ass out showing all your
still don't
goodies
understand
and
how that
shit.
stops them from
And you
graduating.
coming,
Right, I don't see
and
it
if
either.
you coming like this every year, right?
So you
When-
should expect that I'm about to come like this because you saw me last year like this.
And when your ass cross that line and you go in, you hype for this one particular job, you ain't gonna remember her because you wasn't paying attention to her. Because you know all eyes was on you because you had your ass out. But she gonna remember you, or he gonna remember you, and you so pumped up and excited, expecting to
And
get
that's
this job,
discrimination,
and
because you don't
for
know.
some
That's
reason,
defamation of
and
character.
for
Just
you
because
don't
I
know
had
that though. But see, that's the
That's
thing. But see,
discrimination,
that's the
because of
thing.
the
You
outfit
don't
I
know
had
that. You don't know that though. They don't have to say that. They just say they're gonna pass on you. You gonna be discombobulated and confused because you be like, wait a minute. I know I got the
because I wore
credentials.
them booty
I know
shorts.
everything I
And
got.
go to the next
They got-
person with
you're
those
right,
credentials.
but that's but see, you're not understanding the
I'm
whole
not-
concept.
no,
What I'm saying
you're
is,
what you just described is the American lifestyle.
it's not the American
For
lifestyle.
black- for most
That
people
is
of
not
color.
the American
Even
lifestyle.
if they don't have the ass
So you're
out,
saying
people with credentials, they
so
get
you're
overlooked for
telling me
anything.
the American
You're saying because of
lifestyle
clothes
for
and
a
ass
black
cheeks hanging
woman
out now.
is to dress half naked, sit here,
fuck?
get to college, and people. That's not an American.
That is an American
That is
lifestyle
not.
for most minorities, nigga. You go somewhere, you
So
could
you
be,
saying
you could be
most-
overqualified for a lot of these positions and still not get them.
But in
Yep.
this, but
Dress
in this,
for success.
but
The
in
whole
this
4-5
situation,
years you was in
but
school,
in
you
this
still don't get the
situation, you are around your people. You are around fellow
I'm just
alumni.
saying,
So
you
when
can't
you're
have it
around fellow
one way
alumni
without going
who
other
either
way.
have corporations or they partner with other people who have corporations, and depending on what career you go in, that can have an effect
What
on
if
you.
they're starting their own business and they don't give a about none of these careers?
How many starting their business as soon as they get out of college?
OnlyFans.
How
you-
many?
OnlyFans.
How many? Because most people that start businesses don't go to college.
No, that's not true.
They start. They probably. They don't finish. A lot of you billionaires that you got right now, they ain't
No,
go to
you're
college.
Just thinking of Bill Gates.
They ain't go to
Make
college.
yourself up as you go.
No, how the
I
f I'm making shit up, Nick? I ain't graduated from college. And I got 2 businesses. So
My
what you talking
wife
about?
graduated from college. We
So
got
what are you
4
talking about?
businesses.
So I'm speaking on facts.
I'm speaking on
What
facts.
I've said was most of your
Hell, I know
successful
people that graduate
businessmen
high school to got business.
don't graduate from college. They don't. Some don't go to college just to start a business. Some.
Well, some do. But you're saying the people don't, but that's what they do. You got to
In
understand
this
the business.
situation,
Some people may not understand
let's stay on
business, so they
task.
go to school
Stay
for
on
business.
task. Stay on task.
Now,
Well,
Yeah, we're talking about hoes.
We
and
talking
y'all
about-
taking
we
it
talking
somewhere
about-
else.
Prime example. Let's say this hoe is in business school. She in business management.
Right. She's still a hoe, but how does she present
I'm just
herself
saying,
in a
regardless of
professional
how she
setting?
presents
Right.
herself,
You
is
know,
that going to
show
stop
your
her from
ass in every
graduating?
So now you don't
saying,
have
like,
no
that just
respect in
sounds
a
crazy to me.
professional setting because
I'm not
you
saying
don't
that
know how to
either.
carry yourself in certain
You can do anything
situations.
you wanna
That's
do in
exactly
public.
what you're putting out there.
Homecoming is a
How the fuck I'm gonna
show.
trust you? How I'm gonna trust you with a Fortune 500 company? Anything with you don't know how to control yourself in certain aspects.
Because of my outfit.
Yes. What I'm saying is there's a time and place for everything. So if
Homecoming
you
is
at a
that time.
football game,
Is that
if you
place.
at a football game and you got all these elements that I just said and you don't mind upsetting that, you don't mind having a rocky road for the potential career when you get out. That's all she said.
A t-shirt, some booty shorts, and still be inappropriately dressed at a football game.
Listen.
It's a weakness.
Listen. She just put it out
Look at
there.
her cheek, and all of a sudden
She
she
just put it out there. You can do what you do.
He wants you to dress like
there
a
are
Muslim woman with a
yeah,
hijab and all that.
Say what?
All that. You want these women out here dressing up like Muslim women.
I didn't say first and foremost, let's get this straight. I'm just pointing out what the woman was talking about. I didn't say that's what I said, but I am an employer, so if I saw that I probably less likely won't hire your ass neither. That doesn't mean I won't you know what I'm saying?
Ass out around food.
That doesn't. I got other business. I got mobile detail. You can dress a certain way. There's a time and place for
You
everything.
can use her for that mobile detailing with the ass
All I
cheeks out
know
though.
is she's dressed like that. She's
You know what
not
I'm saying?
wifey
That's marketing.
material.
Exactly.
There are women out there that aren't
That's
dressed
what
like
messed up
that.
at, because that girl that may dress like that
Is not a wife.
Might be wifey material.
But most,
not.
but
She might
most
be
men is not.
She's
But
not.
most men.
That's your loss, because somebody gonna find
But guess what?
Somebody
Since the
can have her.
since the ratio doesn't favor you, that's your loss because you the one that's in competition. The women is in competition with the men. It's more of you and less of us. So the ones that got their shit together and they looking for a wife and you actually say I want a husband. Yeah, there's a whole lot of shit that you gotta look at. So yes,
And
you
it's
could.
the same way
You
another
right.
way.
You can carry that stuff, but how many
Vice versa.
you gonna have to get through before you find that man? See what I'm saying? What you not understand? It's called supply and demand. Women don't have the supply because if every woman was able to have a man, then it would have been that way. It's not the case. It's enough women out here that every man on this planet can have 4 a piece, and it still be some left over.
Yeah, we
So
just fuck
in
each
other
other.
words, if you call yourself wanting
And we just do
a
each
family, a man, and not a boy, then you know there's consequences
Yeah.
on how you carry yourself. That's all.
Exactly.